Joining us here. Here she is. There she is. Ashley Smith-Thomas is a political strategist, the founder and CEO of Freedom Fund USA, a nonprofit to protect freedom and national security from threats that impact our future. And she's here to talk to us today about something going on in Washington that I find interesting. Our visit, presented by Marcus and Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 3 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. You visit them online at marcusandmack.com. Ashley, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you with us here today. We are noticing, and everybody is noticing, of course, that as the president signs into effect his executive orders, that many of them are being challenged in our courts, which seems to be the new strategy. Fight them in the court and delay them as long as you possibly can before an upper court gets a hold of it and reverses it. And I don't know what you think of the trend, but I'm sure the Trump administration isn't a fan of that. But it is an effective strategy. It does slow down what the president wants to do in terms of the reforms he wants to see, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this is evident that we saw last week on Thursday. A federal judge had actually issued an order compelling the Trump administration to lift its 3-week funding freeze on U.S. foreign aid. It's Judge Amir Ali, who is in the U.S. District Court there in Washington. There was a lawsuit that was filed that was brought forth by 2 health organizations that received funding for their programs abroad. And Judge Ali noted that the Trump administration argued that it had to shut down funding for thousands of USAID aid programs abroad to conduct a thorough review, in which the judge said that the Trump officials failed to explain why there needs to be a blanket suspension of foreign aid before the programs can be reviewed. And according to the Associated Press, the ruling also bars Secretary of State Marco Rubio and other Trump officials from enforcing stop work orders that the Trump administration and Musk sent to these organizations carrying out the aid. And it's interesting because I think as we watch this unfold, you are correct. This is a tactic that the left is using by having these judges try to issue these orders to slow down the Trump administration and completely halt and disrupt what they're doing. Because right now we're seeing major exposure take place. Let alone just recently what we've been seeing with USAID and the mismanagement and gross negligence of our U.S. tax-paying dollars. For an example, the White House released last week that $1.5 million of our tax-paying dollars went to advance DEI in Serbia's workplace, $2.5 million for electric vehicles in Vietnam, $2 million for sex changes and LGBTQ activism in Guatemala, or the fact that hundreds of millions of dollars went to unprecedented poppy cultivation and heroin production in Afghanistan, which benefits the Taliban. And that's just scratching the surface. So we're seeing a lot of these judges starting to surface to slow down the Trump administration, especially as our Democratic leaders, both in the House and the Senate, are very upset with what is coming out. And with that is why 77 million people voted for President Trump, to bring reform to the government and for there to be accountability, and that is exactly what we're seeing.
Well, Ashley, it's not unprecedented, I'm sure, but certainly at this level, it's never been like this before, has it?
I think what we're seeing here is just such a mind-blowing account in terms of how our money has been used. You know, when JFK was president, he started USAID back in 1961. The whole intent was to truly bring humanitarian aid for civilian populations abroad. Unfortunately, with that, because there's been no oversight and no accountability over USAID over these decades, there's been just such gross negligence in how the money has been used. And unfortunately, when you look at what has been transpiring and the fact that even money from USAID is going to terrorist organizations, going to Al-Qaeda, going to the Taliban, going to ISIS, I think that this here, to your point, I don't know that it's necessarily unprecedented, but it seems unprecedented at the moment from the standpoint we're now actually seeing where our money is going, and because it's now being revealed. This has been hidden from the American public for quite some time, and so the fact that DOJ is now exposing this, and we're actually able to see and hear where our money is going, has actually been very disappointing to see how our government has used our tax-paying dollars.
Yeah, you shine a light on things, and your eyes get opened up a little bit. Ashley, I know you have another call that you need to get to, but I want to thank you for coming on with us this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to next time.
Ashley Smith-Thomas with us here this morning, the founder and CEO of Freedom Fund USA. It is Indiana in the Morning, and it's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for being with us here on this Monday morning.